Hello everyone, welcome! So now we're going to see how to make the best paladin from the get-go. So let's do it. First let's see what we have as a paladin. Paladin. Fueled by the oath you swore to uphold justice and righteousness, you're a beacon of hope in dark times. Right now we can choose between two paladin subclasses, the Oath of the Ancients. You fight on the side of light in the cosmic struggle against darkness to preserve the sanctity of life and the beauty of nature, or the Oath of Devotion. Following the ideals of the knight in shining armor, you act with honor and virtue to protect the weak and pursue the greater good. And there is also a third subclass that you can only get in-game. That's the Oathbreaker. So even if you made a poor choice, maybe you start playing with one, you didn't like it, you can still change to this Oathbreaker that get other powers. We're going to cover that in another video, the video that we do covering the subclasses in detail. So be tuned for that. Oh yeah, first a little bit of self-promotion. Please guys, if you like my channel, consider subscribing to it, it would help us a lot. Now let's get back to the video. The Paladin gets 2 saving throws, Wisdom and Charisma. Wisdom is probably the best one in the game, so that's pretty great. And Charisma is yeah, a little bit yeah, that's what we get. We can use every armor there is, we can use every weapon that there is, and we can use shield. So yeah, that's great, that's really good. What we get is a level 1 paladin. So we have Channel Oath Charges 1, and we get Lay on Hands and Divine Sense. So Channel Oath Charges, it depends on your oath, so every oath will get you a different power. But all paladins will get Lay on Hands. Lay on Hands, you get charged. Usually it would be 5 per level. I don't know why they change to 4 per level, but that's how it is. So you can use your blaster to heal a creature or cure it off of all disease or poison. So you can either heal for 4 or cure it off of disease and poisons. And you have like charges of these. And it's not only 4, as far as you're going to be increasing your level, then you can use more in a row, like 8 in a row, 12, 16. But there's a maximum to it, and it costs you an action. I would say that's alright. That's alright if you really need to cure the poison on someone, or if you're desperate for some healing, or maybe using out of combat heal. That's alright. And not bad, that's alright. I would prefer to be 1. I actually, in tabletop game, you'd use a lot to like heal for 1 your friend who is like who fell, so you want to make so he stands up, so heal for 1. But here is not necessary because you can do that already in Baldur's Gate. Spend an action, then you can help someone recover full health. And now Divine Sense. In the tabletop you can sense undeads and fae and celestials. You can sense creatures around you. That's kind of like Reborn ability. Here is actually alright. You spend your bonus action, and then you get advantage on attack rolls against Celestials, Fiends, and Undead. That's pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, pretty good. If they had included Fae here, then that would be amazing. And you have the Holy Rebuke. So you spend one of your Oath charges, and then you call upon your oath to grant an ally Vengeful Aura. So that's the Oath of Devotion. So that's the Oath of Devotion ability. You have 1 Oath charge, and the Oath charge, they come back every short rest. So basically, you spend your action, and you target one of your allies, and every time someone deals damage to them, every time someone hits your ally with a melee attack, they take 1d4 radiant damage. Last 2 turns. That's pretty much underwhelming, so that's not a very good ability of the Oath of Devotion. I never see myself using it, but that is alright because you get other Oath abilities as you level up, and we are going to cover this on the other video. And if you choose of the Oath of Ancients, you actually get an amazing ability. Healing Radiance. You call upon your oath as a bonus action only now, and now your allies, and that includes you, will regain 2 hit points. So you heal in area for 2 hit points, and then you heal again at the start of next turn for 2 hit points. But that's chaos. So if you get your paladin to level 5, that's the maximum level now, you're going to heal yourself and all your lives by 10 hit points, and then at the beginning of your next turn, 10 other hit points on everyone around you. That is very good, and there are several items who stacks with that. Items that give you bonus when you heal someone, items that makes whoever is healed resistant to damage, items that give temporary hit points to whoever is healed. So yeah, that is pretty good. We're not going to cover the Oathbreaker now because you can't start as an Oathbreaker. Okay, so for stats wise, a paladin needs strength is its main stat. That's it. You want to max strength, so we actually want to go over races that gives us strength. The second ability for paladins is charisma. Now, charisma is not that important right now. It gets really important on level 6, because level 6 paladin, they can put their charisma modifier to all their saving throws, and not only to themselves, it's an aura. So everyone standing within 10 feet of the paladin, every ally, will get this charisma, will get the paladin's charisma modifier to their saving throws, and that's amazing. That's one reason that people will make paladins. But not only that, of course. It's like smite and that. So I encourage you to increase charisma, and there are some spells that they're going to be controlled by charisma. Depending on your oath, you have abilities controlled by charisma. So I would encourage you to take these as a secondary stat. You don't need wisdom, you don't need intelligence, and you only need dexterity to wear your armor. You can wear heavy armor, so as soon as you start finding armor with big armor classes that don't need dexterity, that's fine for you. So you could start with 10 dexterity, and you're going to have like a not good armor class until late, or maybe you put 12 or even 14th. With 14th, you can use the Githyank armor class to have like 17th armor class. So that's pretty good. And then once you fight the heavy one, that's good. Having dexterity saving throws is never bad, because it's pretty common to do dexterity saving throws, especially as you go up in level and you're going to be established with spells and area effects. So I would do strength, charisma, then constitution, then dexterity. I would ignore wisdom and intelligence. I know that having bad wisdom is bad, but you do have wisdom saving throw, and level 6 we're going to have our charisma on our wisdom saving throw, so it makes sense. Races. Now, we want races that increase strength and charisma. That's what we want. You could do that with a human, but don't do that with a human, because you can be a half-elf and have 2 charisma and 1 strength if you want, and even have 1 free. So you could do 1 strength, 1 constitution, and 2 charisma, for example, or depending on how much you value having a little bit more armor class throughout the beginning of the game or not. But any half elf is good. The high half elf is the worst one, because you only get this cantrip. Yes, you can choose a cantrip, but there's nothing really here that your paladin wants. So I would do with the wood half elf, then, because you're faster and you get stealth, which is not that useful for paladin, but stealth is very good throughout the whole game. Or you can get the drow and the drow half elf, which is pretty interesting. Now that we reach level 5, now the drow has more power, and we're going to have a video covering all the level 5 abilities for races like drow, half drow, Githyanks, tieflings. So yeah, I would go for the drow half elf or the wood half elf if you're going to want with a half elf. One race that's really good for paladin also is the tiefling, but specifically the Zariel tiefling, and we might have something, because we know Zariel is in the story because Karlach, and you can feel Zariel like crossing your chest if you do something against her. I'm not going to spoil, but yeah, so maybe Zariel tiefling is interesting for the story, but still it is very strong with 2 charisma and 1 strength, and the Zariel tiefling will get some smite spells. and that you can use, and that's good. Paladin will have it, but that more per day is always good. And yeah, so maybe that's a good race. So I think Half Elf and this Tiefling would be the best race because they get strength and charisma. There is no other race that will give you strength and charisma. So pretty much that's the best race for the Paladin. Half Elves and Tieflings. Then I don't know. Then depending of when you do, maybe human, and then we're leaving the territory of like most optimized, unless you're making up with some like kind of like dexterity based paladin build. And well, if you do, leave in the comments. I want to see your dexterity based paladin build. Now we cover races and the abilities. As per skills, I encourage you having lots of charisma, so I like skills that will make you the face of the group. Now, always get athletic. If you're like, especially if you're a frontliner, get athleticus. You want your jump to be bigger, you want your shove to be stronger, so athleticus. And then you choose one that you give you some kind of like charisma-based talk, like persuasion. For the origin, I would recommend you choosing one that gives you another charisma-based skill. So maybe get Charlatan for Deception, although that maybe sound bad with Oaths, unless you're going to be an Oath Breaker. So maybe you go for Intimidation. Like the Soldier, you get Intimidation and Attack, because the Soldier is pretty good for Paladin, because you get these two skills, then you're free to choose whatever you want here. I would get Persuasion, and now we're choosing Insight, Religion. There's not much use to Medicine, so I would say Insight is the best choice here between Insight and Religion and Medicine, but it's pretty much free here. Again, that covers it. So what would I be the optimal for me? In the end, I would choose the Drow Half Elf, and I have 2 charisma as a Drow. I would increase my strength and my constitution. And then I'm a Soldier Drow. I'm going to skills here. I'm going to take Persuasion, Insight. And for abilities, I want to max my strength, max my charisma. I'm fine with like +2 in constitution. Yeah, that's not the best one because we can, so maybe we just like go +1 dexterity, +2 constitution, +3 strength, +3 charisma. Then we have 1.13 points. We could put charisma here, and you know, you can get the items that will increase your charisma throughout the game, maybe. That'll be okay. Or if you don't want to be that bad against wisdom spells, you can choose with a 10 wisdom. That'll be fine too. And that's pretty much the Paladin. So you play it basically as a fighter. So you're in the front line, use a big weapon to do heavy damage. And then you're going to get to the level 2. So level 2 is pretty important for Paladins. And we're going to cover that now. Alright, once you get Paladin to level 2, then it really starts kicking in. That's the level where Paladin becomes Paladin. Because you get access to spells and the famous Divine Smite. That's the reason most people will multi-class to Paladin or even make Paladins, and then if you stay as a Paladin, then it's the aura on level 6. But that's the main reason here. So how does a Smite work? Basically, whenever you hit someone with a melee attack, if you have the new reaction system programmed, and I'll have a video showing the reaction system, but basically you can go to reaction tab and click that you want to be asked for Divine Smite. So basically, whenever you hit someone from melee attack, if your hit doesn't kill it, it will ask if you want to Divine Smite. That means you, for free, you'll spend one of your spell slots and deal 2d8 radiant damage, with dealing one extra 1d8 with a thing you're undead. That's pretty amazing. That's so strong. Even if you're not hitting an undead, that's so strong. Like free, yes, you spend a spell slot, but no action. So free action, 2d8 radiant damage. And if it's an undead or things, then you go to town. You get some of your spells, but you know what? You're not going to be using them. Yeah, there are some spells that are good here. We're going to do a Paladin's like spell guide, so be tuned for that. But you want to use all your spell slots in Divine Smite. As a friend says, Paladin gets Divine Smites, and then sometimes they need to spend their Divine Smites, to cast some spells. So sometimes you need it. Now you get a fighting style. Usually it wouldn't be a no-brainer choice between defense and great weapon fighting, but right now it is. On tabletop games, great weapon fighting will only reroll 1 or 2 on your weapon attacks. And when you're Paladin Divine Smites, you're increasing lots of dice, right? But on tabletop, that wouldn't be rerolled. But on Baldur's Gate 3, right now, on this patch, the Divine Smite is being rerolled by Great Weapon Fighting. That means if you roll this d8s bad, like 1, you roll 2 d8s for a smite, and 1 is a 1 or 2, you get to reroll that. So that makes Great Weapon Fighting the best fighting style for Paladin by a margin. So that's why I'm going to level 2 to tell you guys that, because that's very important. Usually I will only stay on level 1 guide, but I think Paladin, you need to see the level 2 to see really what the Paladin is about. So yeah guys, so you get Great Weapon Fighting style and you use a two-handed weapon. You use it. I've tested sword and board. I've tested two-handed weapon. So that's the best one. With these here, it's still just too strong. And yeah, and then for the prepare spell, as I said, you don't want to use them, but always have a heal, and I would have something like circumstantial, like Shield of Faith is good, Armor Class, yeah, we're not very good in maintaining concentration. Oh, let's wait for when we can multi-class to Sorcerer, right? And start, and then we get level, depends on what armor you want. But sometimes you start with a Sorcerer to have Conscious Saving Throw, sometimes a Paladin to have heavy armor class, but that depends. So yeah, and then that's pretty much, I would get all the Smite spells, just because they're funny, they're beautiful. But usually you want to Divine Smite, not to cast spells. That's it guys, thank you very much for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not yet, and if you like the video, please like the video.